like the blue. Before we begin, I want to just tell you how appreciative the family is that you're all here. I know that Dora probably held a very special place in each one of your lives. She was so fun to be with. She was the life of the party. She was the party, actually. And I know that it means so much to them. I'd like to remind you also to turn off your cell phones, and that the family will be receiving friends, family, everyone who would love to celebrate Dora's life with the Silbermans and the Yesenow family at 5163 Crofton Avenue, Marla and Seth's home, today until 5:30, and tomorrow evening from 6 to 10 p.m. They're asking for the donations to be made to Dora's favorite topic, dogs, the Geauga Humane Society. And we begin. I lift my voice when all is dark. Into God's hands I place my heart. Piado of Kiruchi, I'm not afraid, Adonai li. I lift my eyes when all is night. When I need help, I seek God's light. Lo echsar Adonai roi, I'm not afraid, Adonai li. Biado of Kiruchi, I'm not afraid, Adonai li. Adonai, what are we that you have regard for us? What are we that you are mindful of us? We are like a breath. Our days are like a passing shadow. We come and go like grass, which in the morning shoots up renewed, and in the evening fades and withers. You cause us to return to dust, saying, "Return, O mortal creatures. Would that we were wise, that we understood where we are going. For when we die, we carry nothing away. Our glory does not accompany us. Mark the wholehearted, and behold the upright. They shall have peace." Death has taken our beloved Dora Sebransky. Our friends grieve in their darkened world. In their silence there is lamentation. In their tears there is loneliness. Lost in their sorrow, may they find the presence of their loving friends. Hear them, O God, and be with them. For Dora's love that united us in life, and which death cannot sever. For her companionship that we shared along life's path, and which continues through the tenderness of memory. For the gifts of her heart and her mind that brought us joy and happiness, and is now a precious remembrance. For all these and more, we give our thanks to God. Psalm 23. Adonai roi lo echsar, binodeh shehi arbitzeni, al mei menuchot yenahaleni, nafshi yishoveh v'yancheni, v'maglei tzedek למען שמו. גם כי אלך בגצל מוות, לא יירא רע כי אתה עמדי. שבטך ומשענתך המה ינחמוני. תערוך לפני שולחן נגד צורריי. דשנת בשמן ראשי, כוסי רוויה. אך טוב וחסד ירדפוני כל ימי חיי, ושבתי בבית אדוני לאורך ימים. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. He maketh me to lie down in green pastures. He leadeth me beside the still waters. He restoreth my soul. He guideth me in straight paths for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for thou art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of mine enemies. Thou hast anointed my head with oil. My cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I shall dwell in the house of the Lord forever. The words of Eshet Chayil is a blessing, or a poem in essence, that we say every Friday night to our beloved women, our wives. And I think it is so, so fitting to read this for Dora. A woman of valor, who can find? She is more precious than fine pearls. Her husband trusts in her, and so he lacks nothing. She does him good and never harm all the days of her life. She perceives that her labor is rewarding. Her candle burns on into the night. She reaches out to those in need and extends her hands to the poor. She is clothed in strength and dignity, and she faces the future cheerfully. She speaks with wisdom. The law of kindness is on her lips. Her children rise up and bless her. Her husband sings her praises. Many daughters have done valiantly, but you, Dora, you excel them all. There is an ancient and very beautiful legend that tells us how God sent a ministering angel to earth to bring back to him the three things which were the most nearly divine, the objects that were worthy of a place in heaven. When the angel came to earth, he entered the garden. He saw there a rose in bloom, and thinking it to be divinely beautiful, he plucked the rose. Next, he passed a house where, looking into the window, he saw an infant sleeping in a crib. He was struck by the infant's peaceful smile and thought it worthy of a place in heaven. The angel then flew back and forth over the earth, wondering what that third thing should be. Suddenly, he saw a mother devotedly going about her work, and he took the mother's love to heaven. The legend describes how shortly afterwards the rose withered, losing its beauty. The child, awakened from sleep and no longer peaceful, began to cry. The only thing that remained in heaven, as it was on earth, was the love of the mother. We know from our experience that the most divine gift we are privileged to enjoy is the love of our mothers, their devotion to our welfare, and their faithfulness to their families. Dora Sebransky was a true Em b'Yisrael, a Jewish mother in the best sense, a woman who made being a mother a full-time occupation. Dora Kappelman Sebransky was born September 1st, 1919, 1918, somewhere around there, in Romania, where her parents Ida and Louis and her siblings were forced to flee the Soviet Union after the revolution and the scourge of pogroms. There, hidden in a barn, Dora's life began, and the family was eventually granted safe haven in the United States, where she, along with her sisters and brothers, Fanny, Nora, and Edward, now of blessed memory, journeyed to begin their life anew. Dora was raised in Cleveland, attended John Hay High School, and she met her first husband, Jack Reisman of Warren, Ohio, and married him at the tender age of 18. Tragically, before her married life had practically begun, she became a young widow when Jack was killed during World War II. A few years later, she returned to Cleveland, where the very beautiful Dora was fixed up many times, even without Match.com or JDate. But Dora had her eye and a huge crush on Irvin Sebransky, a handsome fellow she had met at a dance. They were a very beautiful couple, and it was love at first sight. And after a whirlwind 6-month courtship, they were married on April 11th, 1946. Dora claimed that every time Irv walked through the door, she got goosebumps, and that intense love and adoration never diminished between them all the 46 years of marriage that they shared. She knew how to make him happy, including a hot meal on the table every single day at 5:20 p.m. when Irv came through the door from work. It was often meatloaf, according to Marla, which he doused with loads of ketchup or spaghetti sauce. They shared a two-family home with her strictly kosher parents, who lived upstairs. And with the house being directly across the street from Temple Emmanuel, Dora was sure to close the blinds to hide the trafe, which she secretly cooked, pork chops and sausage. Dora used her Fenn College education to become a bookkeeper for Mayflower Apartments and to help her brother Ed, and as a sales lady for Red Robin stores, and even a short career as a hat model. Finally, at the age of 40, she put all the outside work aside when blessed with the birth of her first daughter, Lisa, and 2 years later, Marla. Her girls were the stars of her life and her reason for living. She was devoted to raising them, caring for them, and giving them all the love in her heart. The girls recalled the outings to Higby's Silver Grill, all dressed up with Mom, to enjoy that lunch served in the paper stove, as well as Dora's favorite outings to Brown Derby and Aurora's for the famous pasta and sauce. I'm sure many of you here today remember the stores near Cedar and Green in the 60s and 70s. Helen Hutchley's, Lefton's, Heights Pharmacy. You know, Dora was a heavy smoker, and she would often send Marla off to Heights Pharmacy with a handwritten note that said, and I quote, "Please sell my daughter a carton of Lucky Strikes." And Marla would return happily with the cigarettes and a quart of chocolate almond ice cream for her dad as well. Can you imagine that today? Never happened. She had other loves in her life, including canasta, which she played twice a day. And of course, she loved the gossip that came along with it. Her dear friends Bee, Beady, and Jeannie. She loved slot machines. She loved brightly colored clothing, which you'll notice nobody's really wearing all black today. She loved flowers. She loved dogs, a great book, a mystery, and especially garlic butter smothered lobster dinners that she just loved to enjoy with her dear nephew Eric. But truly no love compared to the love that she had for her precious grandchildren, to Lauren and Courtney, Aaron, Lindsay, and Cole. Each one shared a special bond with her, laughing to the point of tears during the fun times, and taking turns holding her, whispering to her, and sitting at her bedside during the difficult times, up until her very last breath, with Aaron right at her side. Dora prayed every day to live long enough for the next milestone in her grandchildren's lives. She would say, "Please let me live to the B'nai Mitzvah. Please let me live to high school graduation. Please let me watch them graduate from college." And as God had blessed her, she achieved each of those goals. Dora loved to sing and dance and was captivated by the music of Frank Sinatra, James Dean, Tony Bennett, and the Berry Sisters. I'm sure you can find her Facebook posts of her singing, "Fly me to the moon and let me live," right? She did that. And you can also see that she was hooked up and with her puffing oxygen tank while she sang. And there are, if you look carefully, some pretty hilarious Snapchat videos that she made with the kids. She was cool. Dora lived a long and full life surrounded by love, love that she gave and love she received in return. During her final year and her most recent months of declining health, she lived with Marla, who cared for her, fed her, bathed her, and ensured that her mother's comfort was available and with her 24 hours a day. With Cherie and recently her caregivers Pat and Bernadette, Dora lived out her days with laughter, with joy, and with dignity. Dora never stopped sharing her love with Lee, whom she truly adored, and whose medical intervention afforded her a few more months, more than anyone expected, and to those beautiful, precious grandchildren who made her so very proud. In a few moments, Lindsay, Aaron, and Lauren will share some thoughts of their grandmother, but I'd like to close with these words. You can shed tears that she is gone, or you can smile because she lived. You can close your eyes and pray that she will come back, or you can open your eyes and see all that she has left. Your heart can be empty because you can't see her, or you can be full of the love that you shared. You can turn your back on tomorrow and live yesterday, or you can be happy for tomorrow because of yesterday. You can remember Dora and only that she is gone, or you can cherish her memory and let it live on. You can cry and close your mind, be empty and turn your back, or you can do what Dora would want. Smile, open your eyes, love, and go on. I'd like to invite Lauren, are you speaking first?
Thank you, Laurel. That was beautiful. Thank you, everyone, for coming. I'd like to start out with a few words from my sister, Courtney. Courtney and her boyfriend, Scott, both love my grandma very much, and a year ago they had booked a vacation, and sadly they could not return in time for the service. So Courtney sent me some messages that she'd love to share with my grandma and with all of you here today. Grandma, you have given me and our entire family the world, and for that I am forever grateful. My heart is breaking that I'm in another country today and not at your funeral service, but I know that you will forever be watching down on me. Sitting out on my balcony on top of a cliff, looking out into the crystal blue sea, gives me a sense that I am right here with you, as blue is your favorite color. You give me the strength and courage to wake up every day of my life and be the person that I am. You are the most amazing, kind, and loving human under the sun. I can't wait to have a family of my own one day and instill in them all the values you have taught me and share with them all the stories about you that put a smile on my face and brighten my life every single day. I will cherish our memories we have shared together the past 28 years and love you forever. When it rains, I will look for you in the rainbows, and when it's dark, I will look for you in the stars. I love you, Grandma Dora, forever and a day. And then I'd just like to share some words that I prepared for today. Everyone in this room knew Grandma Dora, but only her family knew Grandma. My grandma was the strongest person that I have ever known, and the strength was passed down to each of her children and grandchildren. It is because of her strength that I stand before you now, giving the hardest speech that I will ever have to give. Grandma taught each of us to never give up, to always have courage, and to believe in ourselves and our dreams. She always said that you need to shoot for the moon, because if you miss, you will still be amongst the stars. Grandma's strength was enhanced by her compassion for others, her ability to live her life with grace and dignity, and her belief that living a truthful and honest life was the only way to be happy. All of us were so lucky and blessed to have been surrounded by Grandma's positivity and to be able to incorporate these traits into our own lives. Grandma had a magical gift that she always knew how to make everyone feel special. She always knew when you needed to go to East Coast custard for a Sunday after a hard day, or when you needed some Stouffer's macaroni and cheese, or homemade tuna fish and egg salad to celebrate a special occasion. I know that all of us have adopted this ability to show our love to those who need it. Grandma showed each of us that the power of love is unparalleled, and that the greatest gift in life is family. Grandma was the matriarch of the family and was the glue that bonded all of us together as one. It is because of this love and bond that we are here today, and why I made a promise to my grandma that I will protect and take care of everyone forever and always. My favorite memory of my grandma is seeing her in the top right-hand box of Severance Hall, wearing my favorite pink sweater set and standing, beaming with love and pride, and cheering for me when the Dean of Case Law School called my name to walk across the stage to receive my diploma. I want to say thank you, Grandma, for introducing me to coffee, because without that, I don't think I would have gotten to where I am today. Well, actually, Grandma, I think it's your love of learning and books and your desire to help others that crafted and molded me into the woman that I am today. It's impossible to summarize my grandma's life and how amazing she truly was into a few minutes. What I know for certain is that if Grandma hadn't impacted and inspired everyone in this room in some way, then none of us would be here today to honor and celebrate her memory. I know that a piece of her still lives on in each member of our family, and her legacy will continue to live on with each generation to come. I love you so much, Grandma, and this is not a goodbye, but a see you soon. We all know that you and Grandpa will be waiting for all of us to be united in heaven, and that in the interim, that Cooper and Chet are keeping you busy begging for potato chips and chewing your slippers.
Lindsay and Aaron.
I debated back and forth standing up here today to speak about my beautiful Grandma Dora, because there are and always will be too many precious words to be said about the love that she shared that would truly take a lifetime to explain to all of you. Throughout my 23 years on this earth, it's been very interesting. I always knew that my grandmother and I shared a very special and deep bond. This bond was like no other. But then a few months ago, there was a time in my life where I became very frustrated towards the end of my grandmother's life, because I never viewed my grandma as just Dora. She was always just Grandma to me. I then started thinking about the life Dora had, who Dora was. I wanted to know more, and I felt like the 23 years I had with her, I only learned who Dora was. But here we are today. Today I'm able to get that closure of who Dora was. Hearing these beautiful stories and the beautiful legacy that she has left and instilled within me and her loved ones, I feel her presence and energy so deeply that it's unexplainable. I got to spend my grandma's last few days with her. We held hands, we Snapchatted, we ate together, rested together, and laughed together. But most importantly, I got to tell her how much I loved her and that she was the best grandma in the entire world, and she knew it. I am so honored to be sharing this with all of you, and I know my grandma hears me as well. My grandma had many roles and purposes in her life to play and fill, but she exceeded the role and purpose of being the most incredible and loving grandmother to her grandchildren. I am more than blessed to have had the time I did with my grandma. She lives within all of us. Her spirit and energy, so strong, witty, and vivacious, just like her. She was forgetful about some things, but she always said that she lived for her grandchildren and her family, and that family is all that matters. Now we will live for you, Grandma. Grandma, this doesn't feel real to me, but may you rest peacefully now. I wish I could hold your hand, but I know we will meet again soon. I love you to the moon and back.
Dora, Dora, the kids adore ya. Every time I walked into my grandmother's house on Green Road, I saw that hanging on her refrigerator. It made me smile every time I saw it. I asked her, "Grandma, where did you get that?" She said, "It was in the paper and I cut it out. It was made for me." Little do I think she ever knew it was really a headline for a review about Dora the Explorer live in Cleveland. It was little things like that that made my grandma so happy. The past couple of days, I have thought about these simple memories like these and thousands of others that she shared with family, friends, and how lucky each of us, whether you were close to her, family, or met her once, or even just heard about her, how lucky we are to have had her. We lost one heck of a woman. We lost someone who truly made an impact in everyone she met. We lost a beautiful smile, it was my favorite, and her blue eyes. And lost the best canasta player who could beat anyone in Vegas if she would have gotten on a plane. But of all the losses, we have gained the most beautiful memories. If you walked into my grandmother's house, you could just feel the warmth and love the second you stepped in. Whether that was because she offered you candy right off the bat, or if it was because of her beef stew, you can decide. She lived in that house for over 60 years, and she raised the most wonderful family and wonderful daughters with a husband who I never got to meet, but until the day my grandma died. She said he was the best man in the whole entire world. They deserved each other. Her house was filled with books. She loved the library and would read multiple books a day. I remember when she couldn't drive anymore, the library had a service where they would drop off the books into her mailbox, and she would get so excited to go downstairs and get them, and she would say, I wish I could drive a dang car and just go get them myself. She loved to learn and never needed a calculator to do math. It was almost insulting to give her one. Want to know what 20 times 6 minus 5 divided by 8 is? Give her a pencil and paper in about 4 seconds. Most people hate television commercials. Now that we have DVR, they fast forward, but my grandma loved specific ones. She loved the Huggies commercials and the dog food commercials. Even in her final days, she would be asleep, and all of a sudden, I'd wake her up because I saw one of those commercials, and she would look at it and smile and say, look at those babies, they're so cute. She loved life, and babies and dogs to her were a sign of life. In high school, I used to take her to Mark's on Mayfield Road about once a week. She used to love walking up and down those aisles looking for all the sales with her coupons that were expired. And we'd spend hours just packing up her cart. I look forward to that trip every single time. If I turned away for 1 second, I would find her wandering, going up to all the babies in the carts and touching them and having their parents look at me. I said, she's harmless, don't worry. After Mark's, we had to make a special trip, either to Wendy's to get some chili, but especially to Giant Eagle because she had to have one thing. She had to have chocolate licorice. It was her favorite thing since sliced bread. She was the Game Show Network queen. And let me tell you, if she was ever on Family Feud, Steve Harvey would have handed her that car. She loved to dance. It brought her the most pure joy. If you were at her 99th birthday party, you saw one of the most magical moments I will ever experience in my life. She stepped onto that dance floor, and it felt like she was the only one in it. I had never seen someone's face light up like hers when she heard a good tune. She loved to sing, especially Hello Dolly and Fly Me to the Moon. She loved color. Blue was hers. Every time I look at the sky, I think of her. She loved the sun, and she loved the breeze. But what my grandmother did the best is love. She was what the definition of love is. She lived for her children, grandchildren, nieces, nephews, friends. She lived for good people. All she kept saying her past few months is, I love people, I love good people, over and over. The night that my grandma died, I was driving with my dad, and I said to him, but the upsetting part is that you can never talk to her again. And he said to me, Erin, that's not true. She was your grandmother, and even though that person has left the earth, there's still a piece of her that will always be inside of all of us. Even though she's physically gone, she's going to live in the people she loved, and the people that loved her. Grandma, I love you so much. I miss you already. I love you to the moon and back and beyond.
Thank you, Lauren, Aaron, and Lindsay, for sharing your beautiful memories. I had the rare privilege of living across the street of Marlon, Seth, and the kids for almost 25 years. So I got to stop in regularly in the past few months and visit. And Grandma Dora never complained. I always call her Grandma Dora. She's not my grandma, but she never complained about anything, ever. And each time she'd ask me, "Where do you live?" I said, "I live across the street." She said, "Oh, is it a condo?" Not a condo, but it was certainly in close proximity, and I also cherish the fact that I got to see her a little bit more often and to be with you during this difficult time, but still a time of great memory and joy. In the rising of the sun and in its going down, we will remember her. In the blowing of the wind and in the chill of winter, we will remember her. In the opening of buds and in the rebirth of spring, we will remember her. In the rustling of leaves and in the beauty of autumn, we will remember her. In the beginning of the year and when it ends, we will remember her. When we are weary and in need of strength, we will remember her. When we are lost and sick at heart, we will remember her. When we have joys that we yearn to share, we will remember her. So long as we live, Dora too shall live, for she is a part of us as we remember her. With Job we say, Adonai Natan, God, you have given. You gave us a loved one who will not be forgotten, and for all that was good and enduring in her life, we offer the deepest thanks of our hearts. Adonai Lakach, God, you have taken away. We pray for the strength to turn our broken hearts into an altar of trust, before which we acknowledge your sovereignty and your love, as we now say, Yehi Shem Adonai Mevorach. Blessed be the name of God, now and forever. I ask all who are able to please rise for El Malei Rachamim. El Malei Rachamim, Shochen Bamromim, Hametzeh Menucha Nechona, Tachat Kanfei Shechina, Im Kedoshim Utehorim, Kezohar Rakia Mazirim, Et Nishmat HaYikara Shelcha Le'olama, Bal Rachamim, Yastireha B'seter Kanafav Leolamim, Bitzro HaChaim et Nishmata, Adonai hu Nachalata, V'tanuach b'shalom al mishkava, v'nomar Amen. Compassionate God, eternal Spirit of the universe, grant perfect rest in your sheltering presence to Dora, daughter of Louis and Ida, who has entered eternity. O God of mercy, let her find refuge in your eternal presence, and let her soul be bound up in the bond of everlasting life. God is her inheritance. May she rest in peace. And let us all say, Amen. Please be seated. This concludes the service here at Berkowitz-Kumin. We will continue at Mount Olive Cemetery. At this time, we ask the pallbearers to please come forward.